battlers, and today we have a massive video because today we're going over BIGGREEN7's 7-0 run that brought them to number 3 in the world on the Silph leaderboards. So absolutely massive run, and I mean, let's see how he did it. So we've got his team here on the screen with Venusaur, Frostlass, Noctowl, Galarian, Stunfisk, Medicham, and Wigglytuff, really just covering all of those roles you need to cover. You've got your grass, you have your ice, you have your anti-grass, anti-fighter sort of pick with Noctowl, Galarian, Stunfisk to cover all the flyers, and also just, you know, do damage to everything, including Frostlass, Medicham as your fighter, and then Wigglytuff as that extra anti-fighter sort of coverage, and then also kind of like anti-Frostlass in a way. So yeah, really balanced team, and I mean, let's just see how he does it, but only after you subscribe, of course, for plenty more daily content coming through the month of December. But yeah, let's jump into the battles. So going up against Magikarp in round 1, we do have the teams on the right hand side, Big Greens on the bottom, and the opponents are going to be on the top right. We've got Noctowl up against Blaziken in the lead, which is a fantastic lead for Noctowl, and the opponent swaps out into Gallade, which is still a really good matchup for Noctowl. This Sky Attack will do, like, basically take it out, so the opponent probably has to shield here. And then, yeah, does burn that shield. And now I'm going to swap into Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff is going to annihilate this Gallade, and the opponent overtaps and doesn't tap a single charge move, throwing away all of that energy built up on Gallade. Swapping into Lapras now, and Big Green has definitely got a smile on his face seeing this, because this Lapras, by coming out now, means that it is not going to be coming up against the Noctowl in the back, which it's not like the opponent could have brought Blaziken into Wigglytuff, because Wigglytuff would just be melting it. So yeah, Noctowl is just happy to see this Lapras kind of getting pushed away at the moment. So the opponent burns their second shield. Big Green still holding on to both, is going to be able to bring in Medicham here and really just farm down the Lapras and throw a whole bunch of energy onto the Blaziken. So yeah, brings in here, going to be countering down, and does have Ice Punch and Psychic, so Psychic will just be like, you know, one-hit KOing the Blaziken at this point, so you can really just, yeah, counter down. Actually, the opponent swaps into Blaziken, so Big Green swaps into Noctowl, is going to get to this Sky Attack, could burn this, yeah, going to burn the shield here. This Sky Attack will definitely take out the Blaziken, and then the Lapras is on pretty low health in the back anyway. Medicham's going to be able to take it out, even if the Lapras is going to be taking out the Noctowl. So yeah, down goes Blaziken, in comes the Lapras, really low health, and Lapras is getting a charge move off here. If it's an Ice Beam, Noctowl will probably go down, just a Surf though. So yeah, Medicham would have been able to take it in the back anyway, so that is GG's on game 1. Going into game 2, and this is a terrible lead for Big Green. Medicham versus Wigglytuff swaps out of there straight away into the Wigglytuff mirror, so kind of hoping that he's going to be able to charm down. Looks like Big Green's Wigglytuff has gone into the yellow first, so probably a worse defense IVs, maybe a higher attack stat. The opponent going for the charge move, and Big Green letting the Wigglytuff go down, so has lost switch advantage, and the opponent has not swapped at all. So bring in Noctowl now, and Noctowl is going to be able to farm down the Wigglytuff, so at least getting some energy ready to go into the next matchup. Both still have 2 shields, so really still anyone's game at this point, depending on what the lineups end up being. And in comes the Zangoose. So Zangoose is a really interesting pick. It's got Shadow Claw, which is basically going to be able to do nothing, so it's really just relying on the charge moves here. I'm kind of expecting it to be Night/Close Combat, so I'll see if a Close Combat can kind of land into a whole lot of damage to Noctowl. Going for the Sky Attack, and just, you know, boom boom, burning both shields off the Zangoose again, and swapping into Medicham, catching the charge move. Even if this is a Night Slash, which it is actually going to be neutral against Medicham because it has the Psychic and Fighting types. Opponent swapping into Gallade here, and is going to farm up heaps of energy and throws this Psychic before the Gallade can get a charge move off, knowing that the Gallade has no more shields and that Psychic is always going to take it out. Unfortunately, just because the confusions were adding up, Gallade is going to get this charge move off, letting Medicham go down though, and then Noctowl going to come in and farm up, still holding on to 2 shields, and because the Shadow Claws are basically going to be doing nothing to Noctowl, Noctowl's pretty comfortable here, just burning both shields in this matchup, and then should be able to get to a Sky Attack or a Psychic that will be able to take out the Zangoose. So yeah, no worries, gonna shield here, throw the Sky Attack, and that'll be GG's on round 1. So yeah, Noctowl is gonna take out the Zangoose, and that is GG's on round 1. So going into battle 3 of round 1, for the glory, we've got Noctowl up against Wigglytuff. Not a great spot for Noctowl to be in, but Wigglytuff is still going to take a lot of damage before Noctowl is able to go down because it is just so tanky. So farming up a lot of energy here, thinking that it might be a Wigglytuff swap out at this point. Actually going for the Sky Attack, so farmed up to basically 100 energy, going to throw the Sky Attack, and then does get a shield from Wigglytuff, and going for the back-to-back Sky Attack, really putting that pressure onto the Wigglytuff to burn the second shield, and does burn the second shield. So the same way they played in the first and second battles, really quick to burn those shields. So swapping into Wigglytuff, the opponent swaps into the Shadow Victory Belt, which is not what Wigglytuff wants to see at all. Not able to get the Ice Beam off before going down. Noctowl's going to come in here, and he's going to be doing a lot of damage to this Victory Belt because it is weak, but the Razor Leafs are doing so much damage that this Noctowl really low, doesn't shield the Acid Spray, and in comes the Medicham. So going to take a fair bit of damage before being able to counter down. But again, Big Green is in this situation where he has 2 shields to the opponent's 0. So in comes that Blaziken. Going to be able to get to a Psychic to take out this Blaziken, but actually going to farm up extra energy first, getting up to the point where he's going to burn 1 shield on the Blaziken's charge move. Not sure if that was like on purpose or just figured, hey, might be able to get this off before a charge move and then just didn't click it early enough, but farmed up heaps of energy now. Psychic takes out that Blaziken, and in comes that Wigglytuff in the back. So Medicham actually really needed that energy to be able to take out this Wigglytuff just because it would be doing so much damage with Charm. So actually just really good play on Big Green's part, and is going to just be able to counter down. Super close, but into round 2 up against Pokemon Trainer Harris, we've got Wigglytuff up against Golbat. This is not a good spot for Wigglytuff at all here, so really going to try and get either Medicham to be able to throw Ice Punches or switch into this G-Fisk, maybe trying to catch the Poison Fang there, but just wasn't able to get it. In comes the Obstagoon on the opponent's side though, and this is really not looking great for Big Green here, because these charge moves are going to do a fair bit of damage. Cross Drop really going to be adding up alongside those counters. Going for the Rock Slide as well, maybe trying to bait a shield out of the opponent. We'll see if one does. No shield, so this is really bad for Big Green here. Going to go straight for the Earthquake now. Unfortunately doesn't get to it before another Cross Drop is coming through here, so gonna let it come through. Down goes Stunfisk, and now he's going to be able to melt this Obstagoon with a couple charms. Might be able to, yeah, he's able to get to the charge move before getting charmed down, but Wigglytuff doesn't mind too much because the Cross Drop isn't going to do heaps of damage, does neutral because of the normal fairy typing. In comes that Golbat, and now throwing the charge move. Big Green opting to shield, presumably so we can try and get to the Ice Beam, which is going to be able to get to after one more charm. So this is really just going to force a shield from that Golbat if it wants to stick around. And yeah, does want to stick around because knows that he's going to be able to beat out this Wigglytuff with just Poison Fang spam. Big Green letting Wigglytuff go down, knowing that this is not a one battle with Wigglytuff up against Golbat, so lets it go. Brings in the Medicham, and the opponent swaps into Frostlass. Yeah, this is looking really bad for Big Green here. I'm not sure if there's any way that he can kind of eke it out unless the opponent happens to like not shield this Psychic. Letting the charge move come through, thinking that it's just going to be an Avalanche, which is a fantastic play there. A Shadow Ball pretty much would have like destroyed the Medicham, but Avalanche can tank it. Goes for the Psychic, not quite taking out the Frostlass, trying to counter down before another charge move comes through. Definitely has to burn the shield if he wants to hang on, and then is going to be able to counter down the Frostlass at this point. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough energy to be able to get 2 charge moves off onto the Golbat before Golbat's able to take it out. So yeah, it's GG's. Game 1 going to Pokemon Trainer. So Frostlass against Golbat, this is a much better lead in Game 2. So we're kind of expecting the opponent to kind of swap out quick here into Frostlass. So presumably Big Green has got the energy advantage here by at least 1 Powder Snow. Gets that extra Powder Snow in and clicks on the Avalanche, shields up this charge move and does catch the Shadow Ball correctly. Goes for the Avalanche bait though. We'll see if a shield does come up on the opponent's side as well. If it does, then Big Green is in a great spot here. Does get the shield. That just puts Big Green in even like 2 Powder Snows even more in the lead. So can go for the Shadow Ball before the opponent's even able to get to an Avalanche. Does get that second shield out of the opponent. The opponent does have the opportunity to kind of sort of catch up by going for the Avalanche bait here, but even though that was a bait, Big Green is still 1 Powder Snow ahead just because of that swap in, so he's able to get to this Shadow Ball to take out the opposing Frostlass before it's really in any danger. The opponent could have gone for an Avalanche first, but yeah, I guess didn't. So in comes something, presumably not the Golbat. Maybe they've got 2 things weak. In comes the Obstagoon. Obstagoon is going to be doing a lot of damage with the Night Slashes, so Big Green is going to go for this Avalanche first, just before Obstagoon has a chance to take it out, so we can land massive damage onto that Obstagoon. It looks like it was a CMP tie as well, so really tight stuff. Going to be able to take out this Frostlass at this point with that Night Slash, and then bring in the Medicham to wreck that normal Dark typing. In comes that Golbat. And because the Golbat doesn't have any shields left, Medicham able to farm up. Would have been able to get to the Psychic to kind of destroy the Golbat, but decides, hey, I've got that Medicham for Obstagoon in the back. We may as well bring in the Noctowl here, use up Noctowl, who also has Psychic, going a double Psychic users on this lineup. And yeah, he's going to be able to tank whatever this is. Has to go for Poison Fangs basically, because Shadow Balls are going to be doing nothing because of the normal typing on Noctowl. So really eating a lot of Poison Fangs here. Noctowl just farming up so much energy. Poison Fangs all day, maybe making sure that Obstagoon doesn't have too much energy to farm, or I mean just getting to the point where 2 back-to-back Sky Attacks can kind of go off. Doesn't quite take out Golbat actually, so has to get a few more quick moves to take it out, and then goes to the Sky Attack that will take out the Obstagoon, and that'll be GG's, and round 2 is now 1-1, neck and neck, going into battle 3 of round 2. We've got a Medicham lead up against Frostlass, and this is not where Big Green wants to be. So really expecting a quick swap out there. The shoe is on the other foot, I was thinking, but swaps into Obstagoon. I was thinking thinking that it might be the same as that last battle where it'd be a Frostlass versus Frostlass, but this time the opponent would have the advantage by having the energy advantage, but swaps into Obstagoon, ready to take out this Frostlass and not wanting to land their Obstagoon up against Big Green's Metacham, so definitely still a decent play there. Night Slash going to do a lot of damage to that Frostlass, and the counters are adding up, but so are the Powder Snows. Getting this Avalanche off and really just, if Obstagoon wants to stick around, they're going to have to burn a shield, and burn a shield they do. Going to be able to get this Night Slash off just after though. Frostlass probably going to let itself go down here. Down it goes, because yeah, chances are that it might not have been able to get to another Avalanche before going down, so bringing the Noctowl here, just farming up energy. Obviously, Metacham would have been able to farm down Obstagoon really fast, but Big Green wants to get this energy up on the Noctowl, and not just put it back in a state where there's going to be a Metacham versus Frostlass sort of matchup, so at least this time, Noctowl going to have some energy ready to go. In comes that Frostlass and going straight for the Psychic. This will do a nice chunk of damage onto that Frostlass if it goes through. And it does not go through. So now swapping into the Metacham, I guess taking like, you know, attempt 2 to try and land a Psychic onto the Frostlass. We'll see if the opponent does shield, a switch, sorry. Looks like no switches are coming. Oh, never mind, does switch. Catches the Psychic into Golbat, which is still going to do a lot of damage because of its poison typing. Bam! Almost takes out and drops the defense on the Golbat. Tons of damage coming through these counters. Gonna have to shield here so that he can kind of get to another Psychic to throw at the Frostlass. Was a Shadow Ball, so really good shield there. Going for this Psychic, super close, one more counter, and it does get to the Psychic before Frostlass is able to get to a charge move. And boom! Almost out for the count, but counter, doesn't, swaps into Noctowl to catch the charge move. I'm not sure if that was like necessary, but I guess it does kind of keep this Metacham around to be able to get these counters off, and that is GG's on round 2. But going into round 3 here, up against R6, racing R6, going in with the Noctowl lead up against Galarian Stunfisk. Not a good lead for Big Green at all, but we have seen Big Green play out of some bad leads already. So swaps into Venusaur and in comes Gallade. This is just devastating for Venusaur. It is going to go down so fast. Almost at that double Frenzy Plant, it is going to go for it. Burning the shield to get this thing off. Really wants to put pressure onto the Gallade. I feel like I used the word pressure too much, but here we go. So going for the Frenzy Plant. Is it going to go through? Does land and take out the Gallade. That is so much damage, and really interesting that the opponent was going to let that happen. I guess maybe knowing that the two Frenzy Plants were kind of back to back there, but yeah, losing switch advantage there. Big Green going to get this second Frenzy Plant off, which Stunfisk can tank. It is going to do a lot of damage, but he's going to be able to tank it, and gets to another Frenzy Plant before Stunfisk can take out this Venusaur. Absolutely huge for Big Green, and might be enough on its own to flip this matchup. So Rock Slide going to come through and take out Venusaur, and then Big Green is going to be able to bring in the Metacham to farm down that Galarian Stunfisk. Even if a Rock Slide comes through, I think this is only a Rock Slide. Metacham is definitely going to be able to tank it. Never mind, actually the Earthquake, but still going to be able to tank it nonetheless. And in comes the Swampert. So going for the Psychic, has the energy ready to go, and really hoping that Swampert just takes this on the chin. And boom, nice chunk of damage there, an instant swap into Noctowl. Noctowl going to be able to tank these charge moves from the Swampert, and should be able to, I mean, potentially could quick move down before Swampert is able to Hydro Cannon down. Could be a bit of a risk though, but hey, Big Green knows exactly what they're doing, so we'll see what they end up doing. Might farm up to that double Sky Attack again and go for one, and then have one ready to go for the Pokemon in the back. Goes to this Sky Attack before Swampert gets to another Hydro Cannon, which it definitely was getting close to doing. Takes out the Swampert, and then in it comes that Galarian Stunfisk in the back. Even though Stunfisk is on such low health, Noctowl is going to be able to take it out with this Sky Attack if he doesn't burn a shield. Yeah, lets it go, and that is GG's. Going to the next battle with Metacham versus Gallade. Another not ideal matchup for Big Green here, so swapping out into the Noctowl. Venusaur would be a pretty bad spot again, but maybe keeping it for later on where he could maybe get a Frenzy Plant off onto that Gallade in a better circumstance. Gonna let this close combat come through to the Noctowl. Really unfortunate. There was probably hoping that it was the Leaf Blade bait. Last battle with that, they didn't shield their Gallade, but this one they did, keeping it around, swapping into the Galarian Stunfisk, which they didn't really need to do. Now they are switch locked, and Metacham is able to come in to do a whole lot of damage to this Stunfisk. So we saw in the last battle that Metacham is going to be able to tank this Earthquake, so it doesn't matter too much what charge move it was, whether they're going to go for the bait or not. I'm thinking that Metacham's best play could potentially, I mean, you could either stack up the charge moves, or you can kind of go for a Psychic trying to get the debuff, but does go for the Ice Punch, and then swapping into Venusaur, ready to catch this charge move and then take out the rest of the Galarian Stunfisk, actually burning the shield, keeping Venusaur nice and healthy, and going to try and farm down here. Stunfisk is definitely going to get to another charge move before Venusaur is going to be able to take it out though, so going to tank this one on the chin. is the Earthquake, so it does do a ton of damage. Gallade is probably going to come in here, but Venusaur has the charge moves ready to go. So, yep, in comes the Gallade, is able to get the Frenzy Plant off. We know that this does a ton of damage to the Gallade. So, does it go through? Oh, never mind, it's the Medicham. I got so confused by the Psychic Fighting typing in the top right that I guess they've brought double Psychic Fighters. So, going into Medicham now, where Gallade is finally up and about, burning the last shield to protect from the Ice Punch. Not going to shield, actually just kind of letting this game go. Medicham was the last Pokemon, probably wouldn't have been able to do much anyway. So that is GG's in that game, going down with the shield and going into battle number 3, Galarian Stunfisk up against Shadow Victreebel. This could potentially go either way depending on like charge moves and the like, so we'll see how it does end up playing out. Charging up to the Earthquake by the looks of it and going straight for it. If this goes through, it is good night for Shadow Victreebel, but most Shadow Victreebels do tend to shield. Lets it go through! Holy dooly, has done like so much damage to the Galarian Stunfisk, but holding onto those shields for a later matchup. Brings in the Gallade here. Gallade not a great spot. Leaf Blade is definitely going to do a lot of damage, but Confusion is really not doing much at all. I think I was really hoping for a Rock Slide to be hitting that Shadow Victreebel. Does shield the second Earthquake coming through though, and is going to be able to get to another one before Gallade's able to take it out. Did click on the Rock Slide, but not able to get it off in time. This Leaf Blade is going to take out Galarian Stunfisk, and Big Green going to let it go down. Brings in the Noctowl, knowing that, you know, close combat is going to do a lot. Have they learned? Are they going to shield? Is it a Leaf Blade bait? It is another close combat, doing a lot of damage onto that Noctowl and swapping into Galarian Stunfisk. So Galarian Stunfisk is switch locked here. Medicham is locked in up against this Galarian Stunfisk, and I guess it's a game of Medicham is going to be able to take out this Galarian Stunfisk, shielding the Earthquake there, definitely going to be able to take it out. And then there's just the Pokemon in the back that Noctowl is kind of around to be able to help with as well. So I think this is looking really good for Big Green here. Going for the Ice Punches just to whittle down that Galarian Stunfisk. Couple more counters would take it out, but unfortunately he's going to get to the charge move first. Again, we know that Medicham can tank this Earthquake, so it's all good on that front. Couple more counters and down goes the Stunfisk. In comes that Gallade with the Confusions ready to go. Going for the Psychic to try and nuke this Gallade out of existence, and does land the Psychic. That is GG's on round 3. And going into round 4 up against Emiquack, who has so many shadows on their team, like holy dooly. It's literally impossible to not see a shadow on their lineup, and here it is, Shadow Victreebel, letting Big Green swap into Noctowl to farm this thing down. It is going to be, like, I say farm, but Noctowl is taking a lot of damage from these Shadow Razor Leafs. Shadow Victreebel is just so broken that it's really putting a lot of work onto this Noctowl. Is going to be able to farm down though nonetheless and have a lot of energy to throw onto the next Pokemon. Is that Galarian Stunfisk, so unfortunately, this energy really isn't going to do much for Big Green here. The Sky Attacks are going to, you know, chip a little bit of, do a little bit of a scratch onto the Stunfisk. At least going for the Psychic here, there is the chance of the debuff to the Stunfisk. It does land and does not get the debuff, so it's unfortunate there. It looks like it's just trying to get another Sky Attack before being farmed down. Realizing that Stunfisk isn't going for a charge move and is going to be able to get to another Psychic. That Mudshot, like Mudshot is really adding up a lot of energy, and again, doesn't get the debuff, but Stunfisk is really low here, and committing to farming all the way down with Mudshots has to be over 100 energy at this point, and Noctowl is going to be able to get to another Sky Attack. Way too ambitious on the opponent's end, and they have to burn a shield to protect from that Noctowl. Really unfortunate situation there, and Medicham comes in as threatening this Stunfisk totally go down, lands one Earthquake and is not going to be able to get to another charge move there, swaps into the Frostlass, and this Galarian Stunfisk is in a great spot, getting able to tank whatever this charge move is, and the Rock Slides are going to be adding up to a lot of damage onto the Frostlass, burning the shield on that Avalanche, getting up to the double Rock Slide, getting one off, which I don't think is going to quite take out the Frostlass. We'll have to go for that back-to-back Rock Slide. Well, it doesn't have to go back-to-back, but he's going to be able to farm up extra energy and then go for another Rock Slide. Or actually, letting the charge move come through. Oh, letting it get to a charge move. Maybe he's going for a reverse Mudshot down. Hey, you did this to me, I'm going to do this to you. Mudshot down, fool. But the opponent does still have a shield there, so going for the Rock Slide bait, really trying to get this last shield off of the Stunfisk so that it can go for the Earthquake nuke. Does not get the shield, but it was so low that Rock Slide is going to be able to take it down anyway. Going into battle 2 of the round, Noctowl up against Frostlass, not a good lead, but I'm sure that Big Green has some strats up their sleeves to get themselves out of this. Swaps into Stunfisk to catch the Avalanche. Fantastic catch on Big Green's end. Not going to do tons of damage, still going to do a fair little chunk, but not tons. In comes the Shadow Swampert, who is going to be doing a lot of damage with those Hydro Cannons. Is able to get the Hydro Cannon off before the Earthquake comes through, so Big Green letting it come through is going to take out the Galarian Stunfisk and lose all of its energy. Kind of thinking what to do here, brings in the Medicham. Counters are going to be adding up because that Shadow Swampert does have a little bit less bulk. Going to burn the shield here to keep Swampert around, keep Medicham around, really try and take this thing out. Gonna farm up to the Psychic and go for the Ice Punch before another Hydro Cannon can come through. I don't think it's gonna take out the Swampert at its range, but yeah, not quite. Another counter is needed, but is gonna be able to get that through before another Hydro Cannon comes through. In comes that Froslass and is gonna be going for a Psychic here, trying to land it. The opponent still has both of their shields, so we'll see kind of how this plays out. Big Green burning their last shield to protect from an Avalanche. Definitely would have been able to tank the Avalanche. Shadow Ball would have been a different story though. Going for the Psychic here and does get shielded. So the opponent still has a shield here. End has Noctowl in the back, who is going to come in to tank this, hopefully a Shadow Ball. If it's a Shadow Ball, this is a massive, okay, it's an Avalanche. If it was a Shadow Ball, I'd be like, holy snap, that is a game turner. But yeah, was the Avalanche, still going to do tons of damage to Noctowl and not going to get this Sky Attack off. Does burn that last shield from the opponent's end. And then in comes the Medicham, tries to go for the Psychic to take it out, and in comes Galarian Stunfisk from the back. Medicham looking really bad here. I'm not sure that's going to be able to take this one out. It's not going to be able to take out the Galarian Stunfisk before it can get an Earthquake off. So I think it is GG's here. This Galarian Stunfisk going to be able to take out Medicham and get a win for the opponent. Oh, goes for the Rock Slide. That is a really interesting move there, because definitely didn't have to. Maybe they were scared about a Dynamic Punch, or actually it looks like they've just cut the battle short there. They knew they were on the losing end. So it brings in Venusaur up against Galarian Stunfisk. Frenzy Plant, going to do a lot of damage here. So, burns the shield. It is 1-1 in this round, if I'm remembering correctly. So, shielding up the Rock Slide for all the marbles. Going to be farming up to the double Frenzy Plant again by the seams of it. Big Green does seem to like going for that, having tons of energy in their pockets, ready to just, you know, machine gun out at whatever is in their wake. Going for the double Frenzy Plant now. Going for the first one. We'll see if Galarian Stunfisk does burn one shield, and no shield. So, going to go an extra fine whip actually sneaking in, and then going for another Frenzy Plant, forcing a shield if Stunfisk wants to stick around. Does burn the shield. So it is now 1-1 shields, swapping into Medicham to farm this thing down. Isn't going to get a charge move, but for like the 4th time in this video, doesn't really matter what charge move is being thrown. It turns out it was just a Rock Slide. It was going to do basically no damage at all. Maybe they were going for the bait. Maybe they just didn't have enough energy for the Earthquake. I kind of thought they did, but I might be off there. Going for the Psychic up against the Froslass now, and does land it, doing tons of damage. Definitely going to be able to burn shields here and counter down if Big Green chooses. Letting this charge move come through though, it is just an Avalanche. Going to be able to tank it and then maybe get to another Ice Punch. Actually, the opponent swaps out into that Shadow Victory Bell. Pretty much can kind of bring in either pick here, Venusaur or Galarian Stunfisk. Decides to bring in the Venusaur, going for the Sludge Bomb straight away. Trying to take out either this last shield or, ideally, the Shadow Victory Bell. And does opt for the last shield. Now swapping into Galarian Stunfisk, knowing that Venusaur would probably just get Razor Leaf down before getting another charge move off, so deciding to keep that for later on, letting this Leaf Blade come through, which does do a lot of damage, but not going to take it out. Almost is out for the count here, but getting this Earthquake off before going down. Definitely going to nuke away that Shadow Victory Bell, and in comes the Froslass. He's going to be able to the Rock Slide, is able to get to the Rock Slide before Froslass can take out the Stunfisk, and that is going to be GG's on the round. Down goes the Froslass. And going into round 5 now, up against the #1 in the world, Hot Pocket 777. This is going to be a massive duel of the giants, so let's see how it goes. Both of them going for the ice in the lead. Hot Pocket going for the Shadow Lapras, which is a really interesting pick actually. I'm really interested to see how it works, but probably just going for the Surfs here, trying to add up a lot of damage onto this Froslass faster than Froslass can get to its own charge moves. Going for the Shadow Ball now. He's going to do a lot of damage to that Shadow Lapras, and does land. So Lapras still probably going to win this matchup, I feel like, because it's going to be able to get to a Surf before this Avalanche goes through. Big Green has the option of shielding here to then be able to put the ball into Hot Pocket's court. So shields the Surf, and actually didn't click on the charge moves. They're able to farm extra energy before clicking on this Avalanche. Almost up to the next Avalanche, but Hot Pocket is also up to the next Surf. Decides to burn the shield, knowing that he can get to the Surf before the Avalanches are going to come through. Big Green letting it go down this time, and going to be bringing in something to farm down the rest of the Lapras. Can really bring in either pick here, Medicham or Galarian Stunfisk. Both will be able to farm up a nice bit of energy. We're going to bring in the Galarian Stunfisk though. Mudshot down before a Surf comes through, kind of just before. But in comes the Venusaur, going for the Earthquake, going for that nuke. See if Hot Pocket does decide to shield. And bada bing, bada boom. Mr. No Shield is in the room. Swapping into the Froslass now with a Medicham versus Froslass duel. Going straight for that Psychic before Froslass can get a charge move off. See if this goes through. Hot Pocket did just let that Earthquake go through, and also lets the Psychic go through. Big Green not making any baits here, just landing hit after hit onto Hot Pocket, and Hot Pocket responds with a Shadow Ball onto that Medicham. Brings in the Galarian Stunfisk now. Froslass is actually pretty low. I'm wondering if it's actually possible to be able to Mudshot down at this point. Lands the Avalanche, and Oh, could mud shot down. I think he's going to be able to mud shot down here. Mud shots down for the flex. Actually, Venusaur's still in the back, but has a lot of energy ready to go onto that one. And yeah, probably wasn't really a flex. I was probably just too invested in mud shotting down the first last. Really needed this energy to be able to take out the Venusaur. Did still have a shield to burn on whatever charge move the Venusaur through, but yeah, is able to take out Hot Pocket in Battle 1. And into Battle 2, this is a much better lead for Big Green here. Medicham versus Lapras. Hot Pocket swapping into Frostlass, and that lets Big Green swap into Galarian Stunfisk, which is absolutely devastating for Hot Pocket. Frostlass does not stand a chance here, so Hot Pocket just going to let those charge moves fly, hit its Frostlass, and is going to get a charge move off in the middle, so hey, any damage is good damage, so takes that Galarian Stunfisk down to like half health. Galarian Stunfisk is going to be able to get to this rock slide first, so he's going to be able to take out the Frostlass. I can't really imagine Hot Pocket burning a shield here unless they want to force a shield on Big Green's end. Does let it go down, and then is really going to be able to bring in, I mean, could bring in Lapras, but that's still a scary pick. Hoping to get these Surfs off and get the Galarian Stunfisk down before the rock slides are coming through. So actually, Big Green letting the Surf come through, take out the Stunfisk, and happy to let Medicham come in and get rid of this Lapras on its own, getting a whole lot of energy. In comes that Medicham, and actually the opponent's swapping out into Venusaur again. So, I mean, both Ice Punch and Psychic are going to do tons of damage here. Let's see if Hot Pocket lets another nuke go through, and does shield the Psychic correctly there. Swapping into the Frostlass now. Frostlass is going to take a lot of damage from the Frenzy Plant, so really has to shield there. Even though it is an Ice type and it's going to do a lot of damage to Venusaur, it's still going to take tons from that Frenzy Plant, so has to shield. Goes for the Avalanche now. We'll see if Venusaur burns another shield to keep itself around. Does let it through. And in comes that Lapras from the back, knowing that these Surfs are going to do a nice chunk of damage. But Medicham, it's really going to have some problems with Medicham in the back. So I feel like Hot Pocket would need to take out this Frostlass, which it can kind of only do through charge moves. And then also have enough energy ready to go to fire onto the Medicham quick fire. So I think it's looking really good for Big Green here. Goes for the Shadow Ball. Does get shielded. I think Lapras can like surf away this Frostlass now. But as I said before, Medicham is definitely in a really good spot here up against the Lapras. Down goes the Frostlass. In we come. Just look at how much damage those counters are doing to that Shadow Lapras. This Surf, or maybe even more, maybe like an Ice Beam or something, goes for the Surf, yeah. He's going to do a lot of damage because of its Shadow, but one more counter and down goes the Lapras, and that is GG's, taking out round 5, but going into round 3, again, up against one of the biggest names on the Silph leaderboards, with a terrible lead, Frostlass versus Galarian Stunfisk. So, swapping in to the Galarian Stunfisk, trying to catch that Rock Slide. Has it been successful? Bada bing, bada boom, yes, there's a Rock Slide! Caught in one. Swapping into the Venusaur now. Gonna go for the Earthquake to again try and nuke that thing. Actually, no, never mind. Had enough with the nukes. Gonna go for the Rock Slide. See if Hot Pocket decides to shield here. And there is no shield. Hot Pocket correctly calling the Rock Slide. Gonna go for another one. If Hot Pocket is counting, there's no chance that this could be an Earthquake, so really just adding up the Rock Slide damage onto that Venusaur now that one already went through. He's going to be able to tank this Frenzy Plant, so it doesn't have to shield. Probably has to shield the next one if he wants to kind of stick around. If another Frenzy Plant's coming through, and do we see a shield? No shield, letting the Galarian Stunfisk go down. Can really just bring in Medicham to farm down. I was thinking like, you know, Frostlass also would have worked. Frostlass energy is scary. Swapping into the Frostlass now already has enough energy, and that lets Hot Pocket swap back into the Galarian Stunfisk. So back into this really bad lead scenario that he was in at the start, shielding up the Rock Slide and farming up so much energy. I feel like he's gone over 100 there. Going for the Avalanche now, really just trying to add up damage onto that Stunfisk. First one goes through, one more Powder Snow, gets another Powder Snow of energy, and now going for another Avalanche. This, I think it might take out the Stunfisk at this range. Oh, yeah, it would take it out, but burns one of the 2 shields that Hot Pocket still had remaining. Gonna let this Rock Slide come through. Frostlass isn't gonna quite go down, but I'm not sure that it's gonna be able to get to another charge move. He's gonna get the Avalanche off before getting Mud Shot down. Actually, undercharging it here. Wants to give that Medicham something to farm in the back. Gets actually Hot Pocket swapping out into Frostlass, going, no. I'm not going to let you farm down my Stunfisk. In comes the Frostlass. So Frostlass going to go for the Avalanche here, correctly calling that it was not a Shadow Ball. Now just going for an Ice Punch to try and burn that last shield off of Hot Pocket. And do we see the shield? We do not see the shield. That is devastating for Big Green. Really need to get this shield. Going for another Ice Punch after farming up to the Psychic. Hot Pocket, please burn the shield. Please. Does finally grant Big Green's request, burning the shield, but it's not going to be enough and going to take out game 3. And going into round 6 now, up against Despicable. Big Green is now 5-0 in this tournament. Absolutely insane run in its own right, but going into round 6, gets a terrible lead again with Venusaur up against Golbat, swaps into Galarian Stunfisk, and the opponent swaps into Frostlass. Really interesting swap on the opponent's end. I'm wondering if it means they've got 3 picks that are weak to Galarian Stunfisk, because Golbat definitely isn't loving it, and neither is Frostlass. Frostlass at least is going to be able to like burn a lot of shields and like do a lot of damage in the process, but Big Green deciding to shield there, maybe knowing that Stunfisk might be a big threat if the opponent did swap into Frostlass. There's always the chance that it was a miss switch. We'll just have to wait and see how the battle plays out. Letting the Rock Slide go through, Frostlass is going to get another Avalanche off here. Stunfisk letting it come through, lands onto the Stunfisk, and pretty low health at this point, but is going to be able to mud shot down before another Avalanche can come through. And do we see the Golbat come in, or do we see whatever the mystical, magical third pick is? In comes the Wigglytuff, so really did bring 3 picks that are weak to that Galarian Stunfisk, which is really unfortunate for the opponent. I guess was really banking on the fact that Galarian Stunfisk was not going to be on this line of 3. But yeah, Yowcha! But getting the Sludge Bomb off onto the Golbat, not going to do much damage because it is going to be resisted, but hey, again, some damage, better than no damage. So Poison Fang's coming through. Golbat kind of just can farm down at this point. Doesn't really have to worry about this Sludge Bomb. And then, yeah, he's going to be able to farm down, have a nice chunk of energy to go onto whatever is in the back. Boom, boom. Down it goes. And then brings in the Medicham now. If he goes for the Shadow Ball, this could definitely hurt the Medicham. And goes for the Poison Fang bait. Really unfortunate for Big Green there. Real waste of a shield. But brings into the Stunfisk and throws the Rock Slide before a charge move has the chance of coming off from that Golbat. Taking out the Golbat, and then in will come that Wigglytuff. Going for the Earthquake to either nuke this Wigglytuff, like just destroy it, or burn that last shield off of Wigglytuff. And does land the Earthquake, doing tons of damage. In it comes the Medicham now. Wigglytuff is going to be ready to a charge move, is not going to get to a charge move before going down. Big Green still had no shields, so the opponent still had 1, so if they burn that shield on the Earthquake, I think that would be a different story. But going into game 2 now, Wigglytuff up against Golbat, again, not where Big Green wants to be. The Poison Fangs are going to be doing so much damage. At least Big Green does kind of have knowledge that they're going to be going straight Poison Fangs. There's not going to be any Shadow Balling going on right here. At least you can know what charge move they're throwing at any time. So Poison Fang adding up now, and you're going to be able to get to this Ice Beam before Golbat is going to be able to take out Wigglytuff, which is actually really nice. So really just forcing that shield from the Golbat. And then Golbat probably could farm down here. It looks like they're going for it. Maybe ready to get a Shadow Ball off onto a potential Medicham coming in. I think Galarian Stunfisk is the better thing to bring in here just because it doesn't care about any of the charge moves that it has. So it doesn't burn any energy, swaps into Primeape, and a Big Green is able to bring in the Medicham. Medicham doesn't care too much about the Primeape. Night Slash is going to be coming through that does do neutral damage again. Could basically farm down at this point kind of if they decide to burn shields, but try to go for the Ice Punch, but the opponent's Night Slash should get off first. All good though, because this Ice Punch is going to do tons of damage to Primeape. Primeape is a pretty squishy pick in this cup, but definitely a really interesting fighter. 1 more counter, 2 more counter, going to be able to take out the Primeape, and then we'll see if in comes the Wigglytuff. So he's able to get this Ice Punch off before being charmed down, so that's a nice, be able to get some damage off. You know, not heaps, but some. Bring it down a peg or 2. We know now that based on the damage from that last battle, the Earthquake is going to be really nice there, now that Medicham has weakened it up that little bit. Brings in the Golbat and burns the energy, and it is actually a return Golbat. Hiding that return in the wings, no Shadow Ball on this Golbat, really keeping that thing to itself until this moment. Unfortunately, Big Green did shield, and that is a lot of energy down the drain. Goes for the Rock Slide to take it out. Opponent still has a shield here, so goes for the Earthquake to try and burn the shield so they can then go for an Earthquake to get rid of the Wigglytuff. Not sure if it's going to bite, does bite, gets that last shield, is going to get to an Earthquake. Does get to the Earthquake. Wigglytuff must have been just on that charge move as well. But this Earthquake is going to be able to take out the Wigglytuff at this range. And that is GG's on the round. Going to battle number 3. Medicham versus Frostlass. Not a great spot, but Big Green keeps landing themselves in bad leads and still winning out the matchups. Really just credit to how good a player Big Green is, able to play out of anything. Well, you know, maybe not anything. It's not like it's been like, 100% win rate, but really good win rate. So Wigglytuff up against Golbat again, not where we want to be. But gonna get to this Ice Beam again. Actually, the Poison Fang coming through first, letting it come through. Big Green knowing that, hey, I was gonna lose this matchup anyway. I would have just been burning a shield with the Ice Beam regardless. So brings in the Stunfisk, knowing that it still has a brilliant matchup up against the Golbat, farming up tons of energy because again, doesn't really have to worry about the charge moves. The return is gonna be, we'll see if a return is coming now. Does go for the return, and yeah, it's resisted. Doesn't do much damage at all. So going for the Rock Slide now, and charging pretty much all of the bubbles there. Does take out the Golbat. I'm wondering if they were trying to leave a little bit of health, but going for the Rock Slide now, probably trying to burn a shield off of that Primeape, keep a little bit of energy on the Galarian Stunfisk for later on. Does get the shield, and now swapping out into Medicham, catching the Night Slash onto Medicham. Still has both shields, and not going to use one here, because again, Night Slash, not really a concern for Medichams. In comes the Frostlass though. Gonna try and be landing a Psychic onto the Frostlass. Burn a shield here to keep Medicham nice and healthy. And going straight for the Psychic or Ice Punch bait. It is the Psychic. You pick what it's going to be next time. We're going for the Psychic now. Does get that last shield off the opponent. And going to be going for another Psychic. So probably going to burn a shield so that this can happen. Yeah, burning shield. Going to be able to get to the Psychic before Frostlass can get to another charge move. Would need at least one Powder Snow. Yeah, gets to the Psychic. This will take out the Frostlass, I believe. And then Primeape is still hanging out in the back. At this point, Night Slash would do a fair chunk of damage. So I feel like the play might be to try and catch the Night Slash onto the Galarian Stunfisk. Tries to go for the Ice Punch and is going to get this Night Slash coming first up. So down goes the Medicham. Primeape is pretty low at this point, but so is Stunfisk. So decides, hey, I'm not going to get to the Earthquake before being taken out. So I'm going for this Rock Slide. Is he going to take out Primeape? Not quite. And Primeape is going to be able to take out Stunfisk at this point. And that is GG's on round 6. Going into round 7 up against Dunebug97, another absolute giant. And at this point, Dunebug is 5-1. So Big Green is the only one on 6-0, and Dunebug is just trying to win it. Take away that sweep opportunity from Big Green with Medicham up against Swampert, which isn't a great spot for Medicham, but it can go either way depending on charge moves and how it all goes. Lets that first Hydro Cannon come through, and it does do a lot of damage. Goes for the Ice Punch bait here. Does Dunebug fall for it? Does burn the shield on the Ice Punch, which is fantastic. Looks like he's going for the Psychic here, so going to burn a shield, and then, shield up the Hydro Cannon, and we'll be able to get to that Psychic before another Hydro Cannon comes through from the Swampert. I'm not sure if the Psychic was necessary. I think I must have it wrong in my head, how much Ice Punch does to a Swampert, because I would have thought that it would be pretty nice at that point, but hey, I'm not the expert here. I didn't go 7-0. Someone else did. So, yeah, going to be going for the Psychic, and does get the Psychic off before Frostlass can take out the Medicham, which is huge for Big Green here. Really putting a lot of damage onto that Frostlass, burning Dunebug's second shield. So that could be huge here. Going to bring in the Galarian Stunfisk because there is no reason to bring in Noctowl into a Frostlass matchup. So at this point, because Dunebug has no more shields, doesn't have to shield any charge move from the Frostlass, and is going to be able to get these Rock Slides off to take out the Frostlass. We'll see if Dunebug kind of tries to catch the charge move onto whatever he's got in the back. That might be able to take it a little bit better. Shields up the Avalanche now. Really wants to keep that Galarian Stunfisk around. Maybe postulating similar to myself right now that whatever they have in the back might be weak to Galarian Stunfisk as well, just because they haven't swapped yet. And it is actually the Alolan Sandslash, who is going to be wrecked by this Earthquake. Alolan Sandslash, such a spicy pick, so interesting. But at this point, boom, it is out of here. Where did it go? Nobody knows. But going into battle number 2, Wigglytuff up against Frostlass. This is a great matchup for Frostlass here. Frostlass going to be able to win, for Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff is going to be able to win this one as soon as it burns one shield. So actually letting this charge move come through, I'm not actually sure how it goes in the 0 shield. I feel like Frostlass can win it out. Actually swapping into the Swampert now. So able to swap into the Medicham, bring it back to the lead scenario from the last game. Big Green's going, hey, we've been here before. And you remember what happened, Dunebug? Pow, pow, pow. Going for Medicham though. And he's not quite going to get to the Psychic before a charge move comes through from that Hydro Cannon. Just because, from the Swampert, sorry. Just because it did get that little bit of an energy advantage. So farming up some energy here and now going for that Ice Punch. We'll see if Dunebug burns a shield just like in the last game, or if they try and play a little bit differently. Lets it go through, and one more counter is going to take out that Swampert. Dunebug is holding on to the shield advantage here, and we'll see what they decide to bring in. Frostlass could potentially be able to farm up some energy here, but Medicham is close to that Psychic, does get it off before an Avalanche comes through. Does it shield? No shield. Oh, there is the shield. Man, I'm stumbling over my words. It's been a long video. By the way, if you're still here, like the video, hey? Because why not? But Avalanche coming through, taking out the Medicham and bringing in that Wigglytuff, swapping into a Alolan Sandslash to try and get some energy ready to go. Maybe has Bulldoze. Bulldoze would be able to do a bit of damage to this Stunfisk if he's got it. Does he? Does have the Bulldoze. Going to do a nice chunk of damage, but not as nice of a chunk of damage as an Earthquake would do. Going for the Rock Slide bait, trying to get that last shield out of Dunebug here. Does he fall for it? Does not fall for it. Lets the charge move come through. Tries to go for that next Rock Slide, but the charge move from the Alolan Sandslash is coming through first. And it's just an Ice Punch bait. Dunebug coming back in here, swinging, going for the Rock Slide now that he did tap on before, which will be able to take out the Alolan Sandslash, but not if that shield did come up, which it did. Alolan Sandslash Going to be able to get to at least an Ice Punch before the Rock Slide comes through from the Stunfisk. We'll see if it is the Bulldoze, is the Ice Punch, and is going to take out that Galarian Stunfisk. Doesn't get the charge move off on Wigglytuff, and it is now 1-1 in the finals. The final battle of the video. Place your bets now. It could be the person who's in the title, but Noctowl up against Shadow Victory Bell. Fantastic lead for Big Green there. Swapping into Frostlass, and that lets Big Green swap into the Galarian Stunfisk. Fantastic situation here. Really love to see it. Take the Avalanche and then going for the Rock Slides, just adding up the damage onto that Frostlass. Bada bing, bada yowcha! That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Going for another Rock Slide though, actually letting the Frostlass get its charge move off. Are we going to see another Mud Shot down? Mud Shot down. Mud Shot down. Mud Shot down. Mud Shot down. Yeah! Mud Shot down. So much energy on that Galarian Stunfisk now. Dunebug does still have both of their shields, but that's the same as the last game where Dunebug did win. But still, going to be able to get this Earthquake off, and Noctowl's going to be able to come in after this Stunfisk goes down. Lands the Earthquake! Dunebug, knowing that Victory Bell was in trouble as soon as that Noctowl came back in, so decides to, hey, let it go. But Medicham was hiding in the back, and Dunebug knew there was nothing he could do. Quits the game and takes both shields with him. So that is GG's. Massive, massive congrats to Big Green there on rocketing up to number 3 in the world, getting that Ace Trainer title, and just massive 7-0 performance. So huge shout out to him. And also great gameplay from all of his opponents as well. But thank you for watching. This has been a very long video. So thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I should probably say the thing. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one. Thank you to my patrons and Twitch supporters as well. Huge thanks to them. And I mean, yeah. Super good gameplay, super solid team. I think I am convinced that Noctowl can do some work here. I was a bit of a Noctowl non-believer, but yeah. Seriously, thanks for watching this far. It has been a really long video, but I hope that you have been able to learn something from it. Thanks to Big Green for sharing the tournament battles with us all. We are doing daily content because it is still Stevemas, so do subscribe for that. We have plenty more videos coming in the next few days. Actually, if you want to watch another tournament recap, you can click that one there. You can watch some more sweep action, see a whole lot of good teams, collect all in the Nightfall Cup. But yeah, again, so many more videos coming soon. Some of them I'm really excited about. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and whatever the next video is, I will see you there.